Hi, my name is Andy Weinberg, and I'm here live at Cherry Hill West as the East-West students are about to depart for Spain and France. With me is Mrs. Spieler, the head of the Foreign Language Department at Cherry Hill West. Mrs. Spieler, this is probably one of your highlights of the year, isn't it?
It certainly is. It's the third trip that we have to France, and it's our first trip to Spain.
In France, you're going to France, right?
That's right.
In what cities are you going to be visiting?
We stay in Salon de Provence, which is in southern France, right near Marseille. And we're there for about 10 days, and then we spend 3 days in Paris, touring Paris, visiting the historic sites of the city.
What is it that you hope to get out of the trip for the kids?
For the students, it's a cultural and linguistic experience. They learn about the French culture by living the culture. They are with families. They see life as a French teenager lives life in France. It's a linguistic experience because they're there to improve their French, which they always do. They improve their speaking skills as well as their comprehension. Many of them come home and say it's made a remarkable difference. This is Mrs. Eck from Cherry Hill East, and she's going to be leading the group to Madrid. It's our first trip to Madrid.
Hi, so I bet you're pretty excited about going to this.
Very excited, and we're all set. Looks like everybody's here, and we're ready to go.
Is there anything you'd like to say in addition to what Mrs. Spieler said about the advantages of the trip for the students?
No, I think she said it very well. We're all very pleased to participate and hope that it will be a grand success and lots of fun.
So I'm going to be talking to a few of the kids in just a minute, and I think also Mrs. Katz will be here, the principal of Cherry Hill West. You going with the...
No, I'm not. I wish I were.
So what is it that... How are you involved at all?
Well, of course, I'm the principal of Cherry Hill West and very excited about our kids going off and the fact that tomorrow they'll wake up in a foreign country, living in a new home, and going to school in France and Spain. I think that's wonderful.
We're going to be having the French and Spanish students at our school, aren't we?
Yes,
already
we
did
will.
have the Spanish, didn't we?
We had the Spanish group here. They were here for almost 3 weeks. And in the spring, we will have a group here from Italy and from France.
Cherry Hill East, right. Mr. Cost?
Right. You're probably pretty excited for the kids that are going.
Very happy, very pleased with them. It'll be a good experience for them, and we're looking forward to having some students from Spain over here. So we're very happy they're going.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. We can have some kids over here.
We have several students who would like to speak and tell about why they're going.
All right.
We have first Jody Berman, who's going to
Jody.
Salon de Provence.
All right. You're probably very excited right now.
Yes, I'm really excited. I can't wait. It's such an experience. I've been waiting for 2 years. My sister went, and ever since that time, I've been anticipating this trip.
What is it that you hope to get out of it, the trip?
Well, I hope to actually learn, the life that they lead over there, and basically just live their life and hopefully enjoy it and, visit Paris. It's always seemed like such an exciting city.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Can we have
From Cherry Hill East, who's on
Beth?
her way to Madrid.
You're going to Spain, and
On the floor.
I'm sure you're really excited right now.
Yes, I am. I've already met the people who I'm going to be staying with, so I can't wait to see them again and learn a little bit more.
Is there anything specifically that you're looking forward to? You're probably going to be able to speak Spanish a lot better when you get back.
Hopefully. I'm looking forward to seeing another country and the beautiful sights that I've already heard about and meeting my host family. I've heard,
Okay. Thank you very much.
Stacy Richmond from Cherry Hill East on her way to Spain.
Hi, Stacy. Hi. I bet you're very excited right now.
Very excited and nervous.
Are you? What is it specifically that you're looking forward to about the experience?
Just going to Europe. I've never been out of this country. I can't wait. Learning the language and all the different cultures of Spain.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Is there?
We have Suzanne Cooper, who's going to France. She's in our fifth-year French program.
Hi. I bet you're very excited right now.
Yes, I can't wait to go.
What is it that you hope to get out of the trip?
I'd like to improve my knowledge of the French language and the culture in France.
Have you met the people that you're going to be staying with, or is it going to be? All right. Well, hope you have a great time. What is it that you're hoping to get out of the trip?
We want to improve our Spanish and become fluent.
Learning experience, basically, yes.
All right. Thank you. One more. Seth, you want to come over here for the camera? Hi, Seth. You're a junior, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So most people that go to France are Spanish are seniors, but why is it that you decided to go this year instead?
Well, I know it's a really good program. I just couldn't wait to do it. So I figured I might just do it in my junior year.
You excited?
Yeah, I can't wait. It should be great.
All right. What is it specifically that you'd like to get out of the trip, or is there one thing?
Well, I'd like to get to know the French people better, and I'd like to learn how to increase the way I can speak French.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, Mrs. Steele, is there anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I'm just delighted to be going again, and we think this is a wonderful program. It's part of our French and Spanish curriculum now. We hope to offer this every year, and we feel that serious language students should consider participating in the foreign exchange. It's a wonderful experience.
Marshall, you're the president of the French Club here at Cherry Hill West, and is this the first time you're going to be in France?
No, I've been to France once before. I was there last summer and had a tremendous experience. My ability in speaking greatly improved because of my trip.
So you're, I'm sure, looking forward to seeing some of the things you've seen last year, and probably look really happy that you're going to get to go there again.
That's right.
All right. Is there anything you'd like to say about what it is that something about France would you like to say for in terms of what you get out of the trip, or?
Well, I expect to improve my ability in speaking the language and learn a lot about French culture and French people.
Okay, thank you. Is it Spain? He's from East or West? What is senior?
No, I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore. So most of the people going are either juniors or seniors.
Yes,
So,
we're seniors.
so-
Yes, we're from East.
so why is it that you decided to go at this?
It might not be offered next year, and I thought I could have a good time this year. Because when I get my senior years, I'll be busier.
Is there anything specifically you'd like to get out of the trip?
Be able to speak Spanish better. Have a good time.
All right, thank you. We have somebody else here. You're going to
France.
France. Are you a little nervous?
Yeah. I'm afraid that I won't be able to speak it right.
Are you? What? Is this the first time you've been out of the country, or
No.
you've been to France before?
Not to France, I've been to other countries though.
What is it that you hope to get out of the trip? Just learning the language better, and
I don't know, I just think it's going to be great, and I want to learn French better and see what they live like over there.
all right. Thank you very much. Excuse me. Are you you're one of the people going to? Are you going to France or Spain?
France, I'm going to.
Is this the first time you've been out of the country?
No, I've been out of the country before.
I went to Italy. Are you? I'm sure you're really excited right now.
Yeah, I am.
What is it that you specifically want to get out of the trip? Is there any one thing, or is it just?
To speak French, really. To improve the way I speak French.
All right. Thank you. Let's walk back over here. Hi. You're going to France, right?
Right.
I'm sure you're very excited right now.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're a senior, right?
Yeah, senior.
Is this going to be the first time you've been out of the country?
Yeah.
So you a little nervous?
No, I'm not nervous. I just want to get out. Just get away.
All right, thank you. Okay, we have two more people here. All right. Yeah, come on out over here. You're both going to France?
No, I'm going to Spain.
I'm going to France.
I'm sure you're both very excited right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Is there something you'd like to say to the people watching us right now about the...
Well, to talk about the program itself, it's really a good idea. I mean, if anybody ever gets a chance to do that, I recommend it highly because, you know, I'm giving up a lot for it, but I'm really happy that I'm going.
He's giving up 8 days of school.
Big sacrifice there. Okay, is there anything you'd like to say, Stacy?
Nah, he said it all.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, it looks like the bus has just arrived, and the mood has just picked up, if that's possible. The buses have arrived. I see it incoming, and within seconds, the many people are going to be loading onto the bus, and are going to be on their way to the Philadelphia airport. It's a bus, and what it sounds like is the bus just went to the wrong school, is what I overhear someone saying. But the bus is here. It is the bus, that's right, I just had it confirmed. The bus by accident went to Cherry Hill East, but it is here, and within a matter of seconds, the people are going to be loading onto the bus. The baggage and the people will be loaded on. I'm in the middle of all the people loading onto the bus right now, parents and hugging their kids goodbye. And for the next 2 weeks, these kids are going to be spending their lives in France and Spain, and it's going to be really a great experience for everybody involved. I'd say right now it's very excitement. Excitement is the one word to describe the emotions going around right now. We've got try to get some closing words here from somebody. Marshall, would you like to say anything just before you get on the bus?
Well, I hope you have a good experience there, and I look forward to coming back with a greater knowledge of French.
Okay, have a great trip.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're Mrs. Spear, is there one thing you'd like to say just before you get on the bus?
Well, we're all very excited, as you can see, and we're just looking forward to a wonderful, wonderful experience, as it's always been in the past.
I hope you have a great time.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay, the people have begun boarding the bus. There are people on board right now. The luggage is being loaded on, and this is really, I realize I've said it before, but there is really a lot of excitement here, and the people are very happy right now. Parents saying goodbye. It's for the next 2 weeks. They're going to be living a different life than they are accustomed to in the United States. They're going to be either in France or Spain. The daily happenings are different than they are in the United States, and they are going to be living with other families. I realize for part of the time the students are going to be living with a French family, just as the French and Spanish exchange students coming to our school lived with some of our students. It's going to be the same thing for us. So they're going to really learn the ways and customs of the other country's life, and that's one of the reasons why it's such a great experience, because for however long they stay with their boarder, they're going to be living a French or Spanish life. And all right, the bus has just started to move, and they are off. They are leaving. Let's hope they all have a great time abroad, and hope it's a very educational trip. This is Andy Weinberg here live at Cherry Hill West, the departure of the East-West students to France and Spain. Thank you, and good afternoon.
Good evening and welcome to West. I'm Shilpi Niyogi, and you've just seen a replay of a live telecast from 2 weeks ago as students from West were leaving for France and Spain. The Voyagers returned last Sunday night, and this evening we are fortunate to have with us Mrs. Judith Spieler, Department Chairman of Foreign Language, and some students who have returned from France and Spain. First, Mrs. Spieler, could you give us a brief description of the foreign exchange program under which students go to France and Spain?
At Cherry Hill East and West, we now have foreign exchange programs with France and Spain, with Italy, and East has an exchange program with Germany. We have had our third exchange with France and our first with Italy and Spain. We feel that these exchanges are very unique. The students go to the country, they live with families, and they go to school with a teenager in that family. We feel this is really the most effective way of increasing their proficiency in the language
as well as increasing their knowledge of the culture. My personal feeling is that the students had a wonderful time, so we can say that it was a fun experience, but it really was primarily a learning experience.
Okay, could you give us some of your impressions of the French people, their culture, and also, I believe you taught some classes there, and how you felt to teach students in a foreign country?
Okay, to talk about my impressions of the culture, I really couldn't do that in this short a period of time. I can say that in Salon, the people were, this is Salon de Provence, a town in southern France, not far from Marseille. The people were very warm. They welcomed us into their homes. They were very hospitable, very pro-American. I had some very interesting evenings that I spent with people whose desire really was to come to America and perhaps see their children settle here. One very memorable evening was spent with a family that loved music. And when the father showed me his record collection, I said, I'd love to hear some of these beautiful French songs that you have. Most of the songs that he played for me dealt with liberty, the theme of liberty. And as a gift before I left the country, he gave me a tape with copies of the songs that I enjoyed so much. So I can say the feeling we got there was very, very warm, very much pro-American. I taught several classes in history, which is not my field, American history and geography, but I was able to muddle through fairly well. They were very much interested in who our popular figures were at this time in America in terms of actors and singers. They're very much into Dallas, which surprised me. As a matter of fact, I learned that many of the new French babies that are being born, the girls are being named Sue Ellen, which I found rather incredible. And they said that when they adapt the Suzanne, which would be the French equivalent, parents say, no, no, it must be Sue Ellen. So there's a tremendous influence of our culture on theirs at this time, particularly with the young people who follow our television shows, which of course are dubbed in French.
Okay, now we'd like to have some of the students share their views with you. Could you introduce yourself, discuss your experience with the French language, and how you felt to speak it with the native speakers, and your impressions of the culture, and I believe you went to school with some of the students. Share that with us.
Well, okay, I'm Jody Berman. I'm a senior, and I lived with a girl whose name was Florence Ibanez, and she was an only child. She is in the equivalent of the 11th grade here in the States. When I was over at France, I was kind of hesitant to actually speak the language, and would the people understand me? And when I was there, it's like we were forced to actually speak, and I felt that after on the second or third day, I was really able to communicate with them in French. Every once in a while, if there was something that was hard to explain, I would explain it in English, because Florence speaks English pretty well. However, at the home, I was speaking all French, and the father would always say things like, speak in French only. And at the school, I sat in on an English class, and I spoke in English to the kids about America. With my experience, and I really loved the French area, the country and the culture. I felt that in Salon I was welcomed, and everyone just had a great time. I want to go back. And it was just one experience that the best way to describe it, like now that in school, it's Tuesday, everyone says, how was it? And you just can't explain it. The best thing that I say to the kids is, if you have the chance, just go and take advantage. It's fantastic.
You introduce yourself. Tell us how many years of French you've had at West, and perhaps share some experiences that you think will serve as memories in the future when you look back on this trip.
Okay, my name is Suzanne Cooper, and I'm in my 5th year of French this year. When we were in France, we took many side trips, and I think I'll remember them very well. We went to Marseille, which is a beautiful town, and we took a boat ride. We took a boat ride to an old prison, which was amazing. We saw where all these famous people stayed, and it was very incredible. And we went to Monaco, which was absolutely gorgeous, and everyone was taking a lot of pictures, and we just thought that that was where we wanted to live when if we had the opportunity. It was so beautiful. And we also went to a little town called X, which there's an old part and a new part, and it sort of reminded me of Philadelphia with the historical point and also the modern aspects.
Okay. And would you introduce yourself as the others did, and also give us your impressions of the French youth in comparison to American students?
My name is Adam Warner. I'm a senior, and I'm in my 5th year of French. I thought the students in France were really a lot like, I was surprised. I went there thinking they'd be very different, but they're not. Especially I thought the people and so on, they were really much the same. They like to listen to music. It's really basically the same. They talk about the same things we do. They're really just almost exactly the same as we are. I really couldn't see many differences. I was surprised though. I liked it. I was able to have like conversations with them and just talk about the things that interest them. And some of the guys, the guy I stayed with was a big sports fan, and I could talk about that with them. There were really not a lot of differences.
Okay. Do any of you have any special stories that you would like to share with us that were either humorous or interesting in some form?
Well, one story that I like myself is that Suzanne, Ad, and myself were walked around when we were in Paris together much of the time. And one thing that we thought was very odd was when we would go shopping or visiting one of these sites, the Palace of Versailles or Montmartre on our City-Rama tour, which took us all through Paris, we always felt that if we walked into a gift shop or a store, we would ask them in French, quel est le prix, or à quelle heure est-il for the, what time is it, or, what is the price? That's what I just said in French. They would always answer us back in English. So in Paris, when the purpose of our trip was to learn France and the culture, we always ended up speaking English to the Parisians. That was very odd.
Okay. Do either of you have anything you'd like to share with us?
Well, in Paris, the first day there, I had a problem with my money. I wanted to check in all my traveler's checks for francs. It was close to $300 in traveler's checks. And you can only write your name once when you're at the bank on the traveler's checks. Now I wrote my name on every traveler's check. After I wrote my name on them, they're invalid. You can't use them anymore. So after I wrote my name on them, I turned them into the lady at the bank, and she would not accept them. She said that the signature on the traveler's check did not match the signature on my passport. And so I'm stuck here with $280, all my money, of invalid traveler's checks. Fortunately, Mrs. Spieler had to go over to the bank, and she gave it to them. I mean, she was talking to them in French. I could not understand the things she said. Mostly, I heard her say that a lot of people, 18 kids who were going to come into the bank and check in their money. And finally, I did. She convinced them to check in the traveler's checks, but something to learn: make sure your signatures are the same, because you have to have the same identification, because it'll be a real big problem if you don't.
In desperation, I tried to rescue Adam, realizing that he needed this money. And the thought came to mind to say that I had a group of American students in the hotel across the way, and they were all going to be changing their money, and I would just have to tell them not to deal with this bank. And so finally, the head of the bank came out, and he accepted Adam's money, and it all ended okay. But it was a frightening few minutes to think that he could be there without any French money.
The trip to France certainly sounds like a fascinating experience. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about?
There's one more aspect of our trip that I think is very important. And Seth Klukoff, who is in our 4th year French program, will tell you a little bit about this.
Probably one of the most memorable evenings we spent in Paris was the trip to the Paris Ballet at the Opera House. The Opera House is over 300 years old, and it's probably one of the most famous sites in the world. And we had the opportunity to see the Midsummer Night's Dream. It's a relatively new ballet that just came out, and it was one of the opening nights that it was in Paris. And it was one of the best experiences that we ever had in Paris. And the second night we were in Paris, we went to a Parisian's home in an apartment, and she made dinner for us, for 20 people. It was it was a feast actually. And it was a treat for us, because we did not expect her to make a big dinner for 20 people at her house, and we exchanged gifts. And apparently this lady and her son was also in Cherry Hill. It was like a homecoming, it's a reunion.
Well, thank you for sharing your views on France with us. And now we'll turn to the students from Spain. The students from Spain spent 2 weeks in the major city of Madrid, unlike the students from France who spent 10 days in a town in southern France and then 4 days in Paris. Can you please tell us your name, how many years of Spanish you've had, and then share your impressions of the Spanish youth?
My name is Stacy Walkus, and this is the 4th year that I've been studying Spanish. I really enjoyed our trip to Spain, and we attended an all-boys Catholic school. So the fact that there were 14 girls in the school was a different type of situation for all of them. And the boys treated us very nicely. We were accepted right away, and they did everything possible to make sure that we were enjoying ourselves. And they took us out to discos, and we just went all over the city, and we had an excellent time.
Okay. Could you tell us about the Spanish education system and the similarities and differences as compared to ours?
Well, they start off the day later than we do. They start at 9:30, and they go until 2 o'clock. And in between them, they have a break from 11:30 to 12, which they can go have a little snack. And then from 2 to 4, they have a lunch, 2 hours for lunch. And they come back from 4 to 6. And they have, like, the same classes that we do, even though when they have, like, my person has physics now, and he's only 15. So they have, like, harder classes when they're younger.
Could you introduce yourself and tell us, although you spent 2 weeks in Madrid, were there other places that you visited and how you found those places to be?
Yeah, my name's Beth Gatinsky, and it's also my 4th year studying Spanish. And even though we were in Madrid, there was a lot of outside trips, and the school arranged trips to Toledo and Segovia. And Toledo, there was a lot of old walls and like little cobblestone streets and little stores and shops, and people were really nice. It looked something like out of a movie, like Raiders of the Lost Ark or something. And then when in Segovia, there were big castles, and you got tours through them, and there's tapestries done by hand on the walls and gold everywhere, and gardens with 26 fountains that went on for acres and acres. And we had meals in the different towns where you had like crayfish and squid and little things, so you didn't know what you were eating until it was too late. But it was nice. There were little stores.
Okay. Once again, introduce yourself, and can you tell us something about the culture in Spain and how you felt to be speaking Spanish with the natives, whereas in school you're kind of restricted to your peers?
Well, my name's Brad Bazin, and I'm in my 5th year of Spanish this year. The culture there is basically, it's not really much different than the culture that we have, other than, that they have, most of the people in Madrid are Catholic, and they're a lot more religious than the people in America are. But other than the fact that we lived in a city life as compared to, we're living in the suburbs here, it's really, there's not that much difference of, of the culture.
And could you tell us about the Spanish culture and how you felt to be speaking Spanish with the natives?
Well, the Spanish culture has one major difference. As Elaine mentioned before, they have a siesta hour between 2 and 4 in the afternoon. And during that hour, or during those 2 hours that they have a very large meal, which is comparable to our supper. Normally, we'd have supper at like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. They have their supper at 2 o'clock. And another difference is that they don't really snack a lot either. Most of their meals, their 3 major meals are, very big. They have really big meals, and they don't do a lot of snacking in between. And the culture is, basically the same as I said before.
Okay. I'd like to thank Mrs. Spieler and the students for sharing their views with us and giving us a taste of Spanish and French culture. And now let's go to East for their reactions.
Thank you. Today we are interviewing students who have just returned from an exchange program in France and Spain. The French students spent 10 days in Salon de Provence and 4 days in Paris. The Spanish students spent their entire time in Madrid. We also have here in the high school programs, exchange programs to Germany, to Berlin, and to Bologna in Italy. I've asked Kurt Hatter, one of our exchange students from the German program last spring, to ask some pertinent questions because I know that he is very sensitive to the cultural differences that the students experienced. My name is Renee Rowland. I'm foreign language German at Cherry Hill East. And now, Kurt, would you ask the questions, please?
Thank you, Dr. Rowland. These questions are open to anyone. Could you describe your family to us?
Well, my family, the father is a commercial engineer, and I didn't get to meet him because he was in Africa on business. And the correspondent I had was 17 years old. His name was Olivier Durand, and next, this spring, he'll be taking the baccalaureate, which is a real hard exam that French students take when they finish their studies. And his mother didn't work, and she kept tasks, and they were really nice.
Anyone else?
Yeah, my French father, he was born in Algeria, and he moved to France to study dentistry, and he fell in love with a French woman, and so he lives there now. He was a dentist, of course, and mother just stayed home and drove the kids to the school.
How about you, Beth? How was your life in Spain? How were the families?
I loved it. My adopted father out there was a doctor, and he was home most of the time to be with the family, and I thought that was quite different than American doctors. My exchange student was 16 years old. He had an older brother who was 17, a younger brother who was 15, and an adorable little sister named Ruth who was 3 years old, and I want her to be my sister, but she's not. Anyway, and I love the family.
Did you all experience a really strong cultural shock?
Only when I came back.
Or when you came back?
Yeah, the main culture shock, I think, was that the meals were very late. The main meal was at around 8 o'clock, and you broke for lunch at around 12 to 2. And it was hard because you could not eat anything between 2 and 8 o'clock, and it's really different from the U.S. because at my house, I usually eat around 5:30.
How did you manage on the first day?
Unfortunately, when the French students arrived, it was pouring rain, and the school sat on this giant hill, and there had to be at least an inch of water pouring down that hill.
So we had something to talk about. We had to talk about the weather. So we had something to begin with.
And we walked with our families. We were all drenched.
Because we had to carry.
She took us food shopping before we got there for like an hour and a half. We were walking around with dripping water. We got to the house and like, yuck.
Were any of you put into a position where you found you couldn't communicate?
Once,
Yeah.
they gave me crepes, and they said, "Do you eat these often?" I said, "Well, usually I eat blintzes," and they call them blinnies, and I just couldn't tell them. I couldn't describe it, and I didn't know any words to describe cheese or sour cream or any of the words used that I made up.
Yeah, in some of the games that I played, there are a lot of technical definitions in French that you don't know, and you want to communicate, but you can't. You usually end up saying oui ou no, just simple words like that because it's the only thing you can say.
And they think that you're just sitting there saying, we know.
I just found in the beginning it was very difficult to communicate through the language, so a lot of us just reverted to body language. Like the mother, when she first met me, she put her arm around me, and it just broke the ice, and it was very nice.
Well, what aspects did you encounter that really set it apart, set France or Spain in this case apart from the United States?
I would have to say the size. The town that we were in was very small. I think it was like 25,000 people. And everything was small. The buildings, the cars, everyone was close together. And it was such a difference when you walk into the school, and it's not Cherry Hill East, which is so expansive. Everything was much older, too.
Yeah, you would step outside and you would be in history because the school itself must have been really old because it was spread out all over the town.
I also found that they were very laid back. because they never thought that they didn't have enough time to do everything they wanted to. There was always enough time, whereas here, everything's like really rushed. You know, you have to hurry up to do everything you want to do.
Like dinner took 3 hours.
The pace is a culture shock in itself.
Well, since you all attended school with your correspondent, perhaps we could talk about that for a minute. What differences struck you in classes?
The big difference was that if the teacher was not there and they didn't show up after a half hour, most of the teachers were usually at least 15 minutes late, even a half hour. And if they didn't show up after that, they did not have a substitute. The class was canceled. And in fact, I heard about one instance where the teacher was absent for around 2 months, and they just didn't have class for that time.
All right. Beth, since you attended an all-boys Catholic school, were there any problems?
In the beginning, we all thought that there were going to be problems since most of the American exchange students were girls. It turned out that there were about 100 girls in the senior class. So there were bathrooms for the girls. The classes I attended were all boys, and if we chose not to attend the religion classes, we didn't have to.
What interesting places did you all visit? Where did you go?
My family took me to Nîmes, which has a lot of Roman ruins, and we went through all, and we went to Marseille with the group, and Monaco, and where else did we went to Aix.
That was my favorite because we got lost.
That impressive. That
We
was
had
really
no
impressive.
idea where we were.
Aix was a really cute town. It was very charming. And they say that there are a lot of universities. A lot of the kids there are young. And it's very lively. Larger than Salon. More to do, more to see.
I think the most interesting place that we went was Monaco, because all Monaco is just one bay, and it's a whole country is stacked up. It's a round bay, and then it's just a mountain. And the whole country is just stacked up on that mountain. And to get around, you have to go zigzagging down the countryside. And you have to go up the countryside. All right, and then to go. In fact, we went into a tunnel so long they had a crossroads in the middle of it.
One says, this way to Nice, and the other way to Monaco.
Nice was beautiful, too.
Oh, I didn't like these.
One of the places I liked best was
That's what we were.
I didn't like that.
a place called Le Beau de Provence, and you went there? Yes. It's these ruins from the Middle Ages, and it's set on these gigantic mountains, and you have to drive up the mountains, and then you can walk through where people used to live during the Middle Ages, and there's still some wooden doors left and windows and everything. And the site was really incredible. All you could even see parts of the Mediterranean if you looked really hard, and all the mountains around it, because Cherry Hill is very flat, as you all know. And I couldn't get over all the mountains I saw in Salon and Le Beau and everywhere else around there. And in Le Beau de Provence, I saw a very interesting thing. We were up on the mountaintop, and the city on the mountaintop is called the Dead City, and you have to pay a price to get in. But we were looking over one of the sides of the cliffs, and way down in the valley, you could see this horse steeplechase going on. It was really interesting. In fact, I took a picture of it.
My family took me for a ride through the countryside, and along some of these very narrow roads, we saw on one side of the road wild horses, beautiful wild horses, all white, and I've never seen anything like it. And on the other side of the road were wild bulls. So, and this was all flat, and you could see in the distance, you could see the mountains, and you knew that the sea was on the other side. It's just, that was, yeah, it was really lovely.
I think the most impressive city I went to, my family, I was very fortunate. They took me on many whole-day excursions. One place I went to was Segovia, and there, on the outskirts of the town, there was a city, and one day a year, my family explained to me that the women rule in a certain government that they have. And it was very impressive because there were many castles, and in fact, one of the castles that's in Segovia was the castle that Walt Disneyland was based upon. And it's very nice to see historical
things that were thousands of years old. I liked it.
Beth, I understand that on one of your field trips you encountered a familiar figure in a phone booth. Could you tell us something about that?
Imagine this, we're walking down the very narrow streets of Segovia, and there's an aqueduct that's 1,000 years old, and in a telephone booth there was a large figure of a boy, an advertisement for Wrangler jeans, and he was wearing a Cherry Hill East jacket. And we just couldn't believe in the midst of Segovia to see a Cherry Hill East jacket. That was it.
Okay, a few general questions for the group. Is there a humorous anecdote which you would like to share with us?
One of the funniest I had was one night at dinner. The mother brought over the meal, and I asked her what it was, and she said she wasn't going to tell me till I tried it. So I tried it, and it was really delicious, and I was really eating it fast, and I asked her again what it was, and she said it was la grenouille, and I didn't know what that was. And so she goes, well, she imitated it, and she goes, you know, like la qua, qua, and I go, oh, it's a duck, quack, 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 quack. And so I'm eating more of it and eating it. And then Olivier, my correspondent, he said, how do you call this in English? And I said, it's called duck. And he looked at me strange, and he goes, like Daffy Duck? And I said, yeah, like Daffy Duck. And he goes, no, not like Daffy Duck, like Kermit the Frog. And they were frog's legs, but they're really delicious.
Were there any other anecdotes you wanted to tell?
I think the funniest one had to have been, we were driving to Salamanca, which was about a 2-hour ride, and it was very difficult for me to get used to their manner of driving because they drive so fast, and their cars are like little boxes, and it was quite foggy, and we were driving, and my father decided to switch lanes to pass a car. So as we're switching lanes, I see these bright headlights coming towards us, and they were getting closer and closer. I didn't realize it was only a tractor, which was going a lot slower than we were. Meanwhile, I'm sitting back, and the brothers are trying to calm me down. We weren't going to crash. It took a lot to get used to it, but we didn't crash. That's good.
What do you all feel that you've gained from this experience?
I think more than anything else, all of us have gained more comprehension just from being immersed in the French language or the Spanish language. And I myself have learned to speak the language a little better, but I think it's been more comprehension.
I feel a lot more comfortable with what I've learned. I know I have a good vocabulary, but I never was able to use it. And with all the language going on around me, I was thrilled to be able to use it. Mm-hmm. And it was a joy because when I was with my family, for the first 10 days, I didn't speak a word of English with them. Mm-hmm. And to this day, I don't know if my correspondent can speak any English. I'll have to wait till she comes here to find out. But I was just amazed at my ability. And I could see myself improving in my language, and that was a thrill.
You also get to experience another way of life, and it really makes you thankful for what you have.
I learned how to put like words in French together, like sentences in my mind before I said them, instead of like sitting there stuttering out a sentence. I could just like say it easier, but I could talk more fluently.
All of the grammar exercises finally came to use.
I also learned a lot of the French culture. Not culture, but the famous, they have rock groups in France. And I never knew that. So now I know who their famous actors are and things like that. And that was neat.
The strangest thing about the rock groups in Paris is that they have a lot of groups, not only rock, but other kinds of music that is in America. And they say, oh, do you know so-and-so group? And we're like, what? And all the groups that are in English, they pronounce them with a French accent. Right, and it's just like that, and it takes a while to decipher what they say.
I thought I learned more about national issues, more about the Spanish issues. Because in America, we don't really hear that much about what's going on in Spain. So I would sit down at night with the family, and we watched the news, which was not too difficult to understand. And it was a good way to find out, and they just had an election where the socialists won, and I learned more about that, and it was interesting.
Well, this has been Kurt Hatter. Good night.